Hey.
I was about to say I can't see that screen, but it came on. It was like black.
Well, it was
Hello,
waiting.
everybody.
It was waiting to go live, and then
I
it
know.
did. So
So here we are. Seems like what really matters.
yes,
Set up, ready to go.
That it is.
All right.
Just wait,
She's
I
just
think
gonna-
I just shared it to our own thing
She's
instead
gonna-
of to mine.
Take her a few
Not just
minutes to
crazy.
do what she normally does and
Well, it's
ignore
supposed
you.
to.
And,
They've changed it, so now when I do a
Yeah.
share, I keep sharing to our page, and it's like that's not where I wanted to share to. But hey, okay, whatever. It is what it is.
it's different. That's what it is.
I don't like it. I can tell you that.
I mean, it's just different.
I don't like it.
Well, it's been a little while. We're back.
It has.
We like being back. Got another topic. Thought we'd share it. And actually, in the preparation of this topic, we came up with another one. And
Always do.
always do.
Always do.
So we're kind of going to split this one into a couple parts, but we're going to stick with our
We're
original
not.
plans. I know
we're-
we're going to stick with our original plans and go through this, but the next one will be kind of sprung off of this one. It's kinda-
But we decided.
Actually, we put it all together.
we did.
Yeah,
I'm like,
we squeezed it all into
what
one.
are you talking about? We
Yeah.
decided to make it all one.
just shortened it up.
Yes.
All right.
Yes. Because there's no reason to make it all one by itself. 'Cause
Yeah.
I don't even want to concentrate on that
I
topic.
know it's kind of like
Not so good.
spending too much time in Revelations.
So for those of y'all who don't know us, we are
Uh,
Hot Toddy and Michelle. Todd and Michelle Wyatt.
Yeah,
We are what really
I don't
matters.
walk around going by Hot Toddy.
That's what I call you. So we are talking tonight again about relationships. If you have not joined us before, this is a new spot we're in, and he's having to adjust.
Very uncomfortable.
I asked you before we started. We're in a new area because we like the conversation, talking to each other, and then being able to talk with y'all, because this is our favorite thing to do, is to talk. So anyway, what we do is
So have you ever found yourself in a situation where you're having a discussion and it's really uncomfortable? Only it's not the topic, it's the actual sitting part. Most people who have ever had the uncomfortable conversations would take an uncomfortable sitting part any day.
probably.
Probably.
So
I think I'm a couple dozen pillows short of having.
well.
We're gonna
if
make
we
it.
Had started
This-
this earlier,
We're
but we're
good.
not going to get into that right now, because you're always the reason that we start running really late.
That's right.
Just blame me right now. He takes so long to get ready, y'all, and we're not even having to get ready except to go live here. So
We even had this ready well in advance.
today, okay, so we're going to talk about. Well, that didn't work.
That didn't work.
That didn't work. Have y'all ever been there? That didn't work. I could say that about a lot of things in my
the
life.
seat, like the seat that I'm sitting in. It ain't working.
Let it go.
All right.
Let it go. But seriously, there are things that just don't work, whether it's at your office or at home. Sometimes with raising our kids and we lose it, or we set some boundaries for our kids or for us and they don't work, or, playing a game even. I mean, that didn't work could be applied in so many ways. But we're applying it to, because you interrupted me earlier, I was going to talk about we do relationship.
Interrupted you?
Always.
Really?
You always do.
Really?
So this is about relationships. And to be honest with you, we talk in terms of marital relationships, but you can take anything.
It's really more like co-communicating.
It's all, anything we talk about, generally speaking, can be applied to any relationship that you have out there. I mean, whether it's, dating or marriage, but even with parents and kids with parents and siblings and coworkers, a lot of the stuff, I mean, tonight's specific one, you probably want to, but I can see there's been some families that's had to rebuild from the foundation up. So anyway, just saying.
I mean, life is filled
With lots of
with,
stuff.
well, that didn't work. If you don't go through life and have that didn't work, that means you're probably not doing enough things, because you will have things that don't work out. You'll have successes and failures and things that just don't work out.
Right. So let's get straight to it. If
Okay.
you have a marriage that's not working out and you decide, this is just not working for me. This is not us. This is just not working
We're
for me.
coming out on
Yeah, we're coming out right now. This is not happening. And that's not true. But so let's say you've
We
been
would
married
announce
for
that in print.
so if a couple
With
comes,
separate videos.
I'm really trying to move on with
Okay.
this. I'm trying to keep
I
it at
know.
30 minutes, and you are not very good
I'm
at.
burning up 9 of it right now.
Yes. So let's say been married for 20 plus years,
At least.
and you figure out it's just not working.
Mm-hmm.
It's just not working. So I decide, and we know people who do this. They decide, well, you know what? I don't want to work on it living with you. I'm going to work on it being separated. Let's
Yeah.
fix our marriage separated. What do you think about that? I mean,
How do you
seriously,
work on a marriage in the absence of each other? It's completely contrary to the success that you need in your relationship. I
Right.
understand people thinking that, and kind of a lot of society and culture kind of almost encourages it. What you need is time apart.
I need my own space so
Yeah.
I can heal.
Yeah, that's probably where the problem started, or it's at least part of the problem.
Well, I think
Yeah.
sometimes people think that they believe it would get better if they had time apart so that they could, and I'm not
Ooh,
talking
yeah.
about 20 minutes apart. I'm
No.
talking about like they move to separate apartments apart.
Right. a
Very
big step.
rarely does that ever keep a marriage together. But they think that if they could just have the quiet, then the quiet is
favorite
going
topic.
to be, I know, the quiet is going to be what takes care of everything that they need. And
Well,
it's
what they
not.
think they're going after is they just want peace. They just want peace and quiet. If we
Right.
could just get peace, just peace in the relationship.
Right.
Well, if you move out on each other and you don't fight for your relationship, peace is, you accomplish peace through battle. And because of the
Right.
battle, you then talk to each other and you make concessions and you go your separate ways, or you come together. Quiet is what you get when you give up on each other and you just go away. If you're not in peace with somebody,
Right.
then there's still conflict. There's still a problem. The problem never went away. All you've
Right.
done is gotten quiet. You stopped lobbing bombs on each other,
Yeah.
but you're ready to lob bombs as soon as you see
We
each
need
other
a few
again.
kabooms to be fixing it. Okay, so we're talking
point
about
being, sometimes you got it's not the quiet you should be seeking. It's
Right.
peace, and
Yeah.
peace requires action.
yeah,
It
so you
requires
have to
you to
be
be
together
there
to do that.
to work
Well,
on it.
79% of the marriages that separate end up in divorce.
Yep. According to this Ohio State study.
And
Very well established.
96% of marriages who thought they were going to divorce that stayed together and rebuilt or repaired their relationship had a very strong relationship and were very happy that they didn't give up on it. So that's what we want to talk about now
That's
that
the
we're
part we're talking
This
about.
is where
Be
this
that 90.
is be the 96%. So we're going to talk about do you rebuild or repair a relationship?
What's the difference?
Well, there is a difference.
There
there
is.
is a
There is a
difference
difference.
because sometimes, everybody can do maintenance because everybody needs maintenance. You need to maintain your
We talk about
relationship
that
with tools
most
all the
of
time.
the time. That's what we're talking about. Is
Right.
maintenance.
Yes,
Just saying, throwing it in there.
I know.
Co-communicating.
Everything, or how about communicating? Period. So they, so we do the. My mind is
I
so.
know, I do that to you. I blow your mind.
You do. Okay, I'm going to stop for a minute. We talk about maintaining. We give you tools. That's kind of what our whole thing's about. Go back and watch some of our videos or messages if you need some tools, because there's a lot of things that you can do to help keep your relationship where it needs to be.
Young, fresh,
But
moving
if
forward.
you're hitting some parts where you need to repair or rebuild, let's just say what happens in your relationship. You're raising kids, you're both working, maybe one's a stay at home, one travels for work. Lord, I'm so glad you didn't have to travel, because I don't know if I'd have done that very well. Because the little bit you did travel, I hated it. So I don't know if I'd have been a good wife to a man who traveled, because that was just not going to happen.
That's true.
But I didn't do very well.
Did Just the few
But-
times I ever did travel.
Oh, I hated it. So, but the reality is, we're talking about if you're going to repair or rebuild.
Right.
And repairing is when you have a few things that you definitely are going through that's not, that you just keep bumping
Yeah,
into
these
this
are not
wall.
relationship busters.
that-
These are relationship rusters.
Yeah, and you just need to go
I
and
just made that
get the get the screwdriver out, give it a few cranks or whatever. And you can still use tools to do the repairing as well. But when we're rebuilding, that's like you're taking the structure down and starting over. And there's a lot of marriages that need to do that and still stay married. Don't separate, but we're going to talk to you about how to rebuild
Yeah, I mean,
versus repair.
yeah, and that's the big thing is that, repairing requires that the foundation's still intact. You still have some walls up, a little spackle, some paint, maybe some sheetrock, right? New finishes, that helps.
Still needs to be painted.
But if your walls are still,
My sheetrock is up, and it's been taped and floated.
maybe that's part of the aesthetic. They like it that way.
Yeah, no. Some of us need it painted.
But for the people who they finally awakened to the fact that the relationship is taking some damage,
Right.
and there's some
You gonna look at them ever?
pretty big holes. I like looking at you.
Okay.
There's some pretty big holes that are going on. A lot of times in remodeling work, even your foundation gets cracked.
Mm-hmm.
Or you realize you need to add a different type of addition onto the house, and you need to kind of redo the structure, the
Well-
foundation that you're going to do.
We're talking about rebuilding, and most marriages actually started off with a really good foundation.
Right. We hope.
I said most.
Yeah.
Some marriages, however, are what is when Jesus said, if your house is built on the rock, it's going to stand, and if it's built on the sand, it's going to get washed away. Well, the reality is the marriages that are built on the rock will stay. You're going to have to do some repairing and some
Sure.
maintenance to your home, your marriage,
Right.
along the way. But if you're built on the sand, it's just going to get washed away. And that's kind of what we want to talk about is the marriages who let life, flat tires, car accidents, parents that pass away. My mom died, your mom died. We've gone through some stuff. Oh my gosh, when you hit the teen years with children, empty nesting, all the different things that you go through in life, where does your marriage, especially when you get to be with the empty nesting part, where's the foundation? Because if there was no foundation,
Right.
you are starting over, and
Right.
you need to, and that's
we're-
what we're going to talk about is rebuilding, even from the ground up,
Right.
if you have
And
to.
those are the foundations. The rock, obviously, that you're talking about is Christ and the Scriptures. And that if you build your marriage based on the principles that we are talking about through all these things, you lay that foundation on top of that. Each one of the different events you talked in
There's
life are
several layers to the foundation.
right? Are
There needs
seasons
to
that are
be-
happening to your structure. So when all these, so your structure is going to change
Because if
over
you
time.
don't have a friendship in your relationship,
That makes you very susceptible to.
right. So my whole point
Things in your
with the foundation has to have
Right.
there's got to be a lot. Yes, God, of course, you better have God first in your relationship, and then put everybody in the right orders and all the
that'll-
right things. But that's your main
certainly gonna be
foundation.
the
But then you
concrete.
need the friendship. But let's talk about, okay,
Yeah.
we talk about how to do repair and maintenance all the time. So today we're talking about rebuilding.
Rebuilding.
So we have the foundation. We have a good foundation. Our marriage was built on good communication. It was built on solid on the rock with God. So what happens now? We're needing to rebuild. What do we do?
Well,
I mean, there's a few things that we're talking about that we need to do.
some of the best things you can do. You want to talk about this one down here?
Well, that's the
Yeah.
order that this is written in.
So
Try to
one
do
of the
this
things we
without
wanted to
putting
do
it
is
on the video.
If you just spent 30 minutes a day, sounds like a lot. 30 minutes a day for 30 days.
I don't know a lot of men who's going to talk to their wives for 30 minutes a day
If you're
their
trying to-
foundation, if their relationship is so bad that they're having, and I'm talking from experience, even with you.
Well, let me finish saying what I'm saying. They don't know what I'm saying. If you spend 30 minutes a day for 30 days talking to your spouse, each other, you can certainly help jumpstart
Oh.
your relationship.
Absolutely. But
Now,
you
you're
have
challenging the 30 minutes for most men to spend because you're just
In-
sexist
in-
that way.
Oh. Okay.
It is true. Most of the guys, I know it's true for me. Here's the point. I think she's completely valid in that point. That 30 minutes, if you're having problems in your relationship, most people tend to hide from
we
the
are talking
relationship.
about rebuilding, so that means you do
Right.
have an issue.
Right.
And what
We're
do
not
men
talking about-
and what do men typically do when the woman says we need to talk?
They roll their eyes and they turn you off.
Right. So it takes both parties wanting. You both have to want to do this. That's the only part that I'm saying.
That's what I was gonna get
I'm not saying
at.
that men are bad, because the men who really want the relationships to work, they absolutely will invest in spending time with their spouse every day. I mean, you do. There was a time you didn't want to, and that's why we're doing what
and
we
there's
do,
also
is
the
because
point
we've
being
learned a lot.
that it's not a one-time commitment. You've
No.
dedicated yourself to your wife, and you're like,
Yes.
gosh, I've already done that. I'm not starting over again.
And yet, you might have to.
If you're doing better or worse, and you're really committed to your wife or your husband, and you love them,
Right.
you can't spend 30 minutes a day. It's going to feel like a long time to some people. It's going to be laborious for some people. Other people
Right.
will go by really quick. Some people will fight really hard for their marriage. And we're only asking you to do 30 minutes. And if that seems like a lot, well, just remember anything else you've ever done in your
Well,
life.
this is where
When you first start
are-
off, it seems you don't know how to do it.
Well,
And the whole point of this is to get through the process. You get better and better and better. And pretty soon you find communicating taking on a whole new foundation in your marriage.
Right, because that does need to be the main thing. We get made fun of a lot. We talk a lot.
You talk a lot.
You talk a lot,
You do.
and we overtalk each other a lot
On
because
purpose.
we both have a lot to say to each other.
We can listen on top of each other.
I do. I take in everything you say, and
Or
then I
something
tell
like
you
that.
just how wrong it is. No, I'm kidding. Just kidding. But we do talk a lot. The funny thing is, we talk in the car all the time. We talk at home, and we're together all the time. We do need space apart. Everybody needs some time alone
That's
here and
probably
there.
our biggest fault.
And our biggest fault is not enough time alone, but I fixed that. I'm going to be working from home 2 days a week because I needed it. I know you hate that, but I think it's going to be good for us. So let's talk about, if you don't know what to talk about with your spouse.
Yeah, what are you going to do for 30 minutes?
I mean, well,
20 minutes even.
Let's ask. Okay, so, I started
So-
reading these questions
So you
because the
plop
things
down
that,
in front of each other and say, we've dedicated this 30 minutes
right, but what happens
sometime before 11 o'clock
This
at night.
is going to sound so ridiculous, but it's not. And that is,
does sound silly.
no, I'm not talking about the talking 30 minutes.
No,
Let me
the
move
part you're
forward.
about to say.
So, do you even know your spouse's favorite color? Because a lot of people, first of all, favorite colors can change. Because I know mine used to be, blue, thought I liked reds, still like reds and still like blues. Blue was my favorite color for many, many years. Not maybe once we were married. I don't know. I don't remember that far back.
You want to tilt your head for
And
them to see what your
you
favorite
can
color?
they can
That's
see my
not the
favorite
right color, by the way. That's just their favorite color in hair. That's not your favorite color.
What's my favorite color?
Well, that's not really just the purple that you really like.
I like purple.
Yeah.
But purple's my favorite color. But my point being, maybe you don't know your spouse's favorite color. Maybe you don't know what kind of vacation they want to go on. Maybe you don't know. Start with some of the basics, because it's kind of like, I could sit here and tell you, to be honest with you, I know one type of vacation. Well, no, because we talked about it earlier and I figured out some others. But like the Alaskan cruise, that's one that you would really want to go
That
on.
would be awesome.
But you don't want to go on a cruise ship,
I
like
don't
just to go
find
on a
any
cruise,
fun
except if
floating
it's
in a big puddle of water.
except for the Alaskan one.
That would be awesome.
Going through the little towns, especially with the the history of Texas and stuff like
Yeah.
that. Those are things we like to go to the beach. Padre's our favorite because we have never really traveled too far outside of Texas.
Private beach,
Going to
not super hyped up. It's still simple.
going to see our kids. Those are the
Yeah,
vacations
the
we
things
want.
you don't know is we've never lived around mountains. So I love going up in the mountains. I love going to the stands along the way and getting to the top of the mountain.
But you've never taken me on a
Skyline Drive.
vacation there.
Skyline. Well, it's a long ways to go to Skyline Drive.
I don't know where that is.
That's way up there in northern Virginia, between Virginia and West Virginia.
Ah.
It runs all the way down the Smokies. And
My whole thing with that is, okay, so y'all see how we're doing this, right? We start talking. I started talking. I don't even know what you want to do for vacations. Here's some I do know. And then you start talking about
add it in.
what. Then you start talking about what you would really want to do for a vacation.
Yeah, the best apple cider I ever had in my life.
You want to go home to Virginia, which is probably the only home you've had other than Texas that you really, because he was an Army brat, that
Yeah.
you really talked about. That's the place that
Yeah.
you would want to go back and visit. You don't want to go back and visit Lubbock or Kansas
No.
or any of
What's
those.
there to see in Lubbock?
Well, or Kansas or
Say
any
it
of the
right.
others, but no. My point being, though, this would be
Right.
something important, and I
Fort
could
Leavenworth.
extract.
I lived in Fort Leavenworth. I don't want to go back
But
there.
I could extract that from you and go, okay, so he likes the mountains. He likes the little things, you know, to go shopping. Well, there are places, in fact, in Texas where you can take the little routes or you can take the train across
Oh.
the United States. Little things, because now I just talked to him.
Travel
This-
66, that'd be
little bit.
awesome.
How long have we been doing this?
I want to
you
take.
know.
I want to take the train ride across the country.
Right. Okay. So
We could keep going.
the 30-minute conversation that you're wanting to have. Now, technically, what we're telling you, if you're rebuilding your marriage, if you are rebuilding, you're not maintaining and you're not repairing, you are rebuilding from the ground up. 30 minutes a day for 30 days. You want to know why? It's like you're dating again.
Right.
So what
Everything
we
I
just did,
just told you, I didn't tell you before.
and what we just
if-
talked about
It's
was
all brand new.
if you were seeing what we were just doing, I was giving y'all examples. We talked about, you know, what are you gonna do? Let's go back in time to when you first meet and you're dating. You're gonna ask them all of the cliche. What's your favorite color? What's your favorite sports team? What's your favorite whatever? Okay, you get past that because you might not know it 30 years later. So you go.
Right.
So then we go into what's your favorite? What do you want to do on vacation? Then you can start going into some deeper topics that get to a very personal level. So earlier tonight, we're not going to go there now, but earlier tonight when we were talking about this, we started with the colors, then the vacations and what we want to do. And then you talked to me about marriages. And we talked about, the other night we talked about my parents' relationship and its faults and its good things.
Right.
And today we talked
True,
about your parents'
Right.
relationship.
On the fly, yeah.
But it on a very much deeper
Yeah,
level.
because we could be honest.
Because now we can go, okay, we get it, and the things as children or even young adults and all of this while they're still being parents, they're
Trust
not just
me,
being.
you're not going to have the same discussion you had when you were dating because you're way more mature, hopefully, and way more connected, hopefully, than you were before.
Right. So you need to talk.
You might not know each other, but you know each other.
Okay, so now let's get past the rebuilding. What if you're just in a good spot where we are most of the time?
Most.
There's some times I don't like him so much, and then there's times that I really like him a lot. It just kind of depends. But the biggest thing
10 to
is,
1.
what did you say to me earlier?
I don't know.
I'm glad that we had this conversation because it let me know things that I didn't know.
Right? There's always stuff you can find out. There's always communications of things that you've done that you change over time. And that's the whole point.
Right.
You know, when you first have this conversation, you're going to say the things, and all of a sudden you realize that's not who you're thinking about the answer you gave before, if you can recall it. And you're like, that's not who I am today. And I wouldn't want you to be the same person
Right. Well, and that's what we.
that you were when we
Right.
first met. I would hope that we both have grown in so many ways, individually, maturely,
You're right.
as well as together.
Yeah.
And if you're rebuilding, you may not be together on that right now, but you can be because
One
there's so
of-
many things you've shared, and you pointed out the things that keep you grounded whenever.
Yeah, because there's times that I'm like, I don't even know if this dude loves me or not. Now, we've been married 30 years, and I know he loves me. So when I say this, I'm telling you from what
I love you,
everybody goes through when they're having different times. And it's like, I don't even know if he loves me, but I can picture in my head. There's one picture from our wedding day, and there's kind
I
of
even
a
told
look.
you which one it was, too.
I know, and I didn't even have to tell him. He's like, "Oh, I know which one you're talking about. We're over the. You're holding your sparkling water, and we're standing over the table. Yep, that's the look." And the funny thing is, it's not a look of "I love you" and "Oh, baby, I'm so glad we're married."
It's
It
a look
was.
of, did you just say that?
Yes. Did you really just say that? Are you freaking kidding me? That's kind of the look that he's giving me.
Right.
And the
We're
funny
in
thing
public.
is,
I can't believe you said that.
I've gotten that look quite a bit over the years, just saying.
Right?
But it's also a look that,
Part of the reason why I love you.
well, that's the look that I can put in a few places that I know that means he loves me. And I don't know why that particular look, but it's what speaks to me. And he doesn't know that till today when we talked about this.
It's not even my particularly sexy look.
No, but it is one. It was just kind of funny because I don't know what I was saying that night at our wedding. It was an afternoon because it wasn't a night. Anyway, and you were just kind of like, are you kidding me? And I was like, yeah, no, not really. This is what we're going to do or something. I don't even know what that conversation, it's been 30 years, so I don't even know what that was about. But
I
was
could take
important.
a guess at what you said.
It was over a gift. I
I'm
probably
pretty
didn't
sure
like
it was,
the gift.
I want to get out of here. I think that's pretty much what it was.
Probably. Because I scheduled a 2 o'clock wedding and I wanted gone by 4.
Right.
So I was like,
Let's get rid of these people and get out of here.
That's
I think
what I'm talking about.
Probably what it
Okay,
was.
so we've given you're going to rebuild your relationship, start with the foundation. We've given you a couple of things to get started with. Message us or comment or call us if you need help with
Learning
that.
new things about each other.
The next thing to do is, oh my goodness, please do not be sharing this with your family.
Why?
Well, because family, they don't know how to respond most of the time. They really don't. I remember I used to talk to my sister a lot when I was very upset with you back in the day.
Get in the middle of it.
They don't want to be in the middle of it. They don't
know
want to.
what you're fighting about.
And
they don't know what your problems
well,
are.
And if you're the one that's the wrong one, they don't really want to tell you. But here's the deal. What happens when you decide you're going to stay married and old Aunt Sally has already told you you're married to a loser? So you've told your husband Aunt Sally thinks he's a loser and y'all stay married. Aunt Sally shows up and he's going to be, oh yeah, like, right, you think I'm a loser.
Well, exactly, because all it does when you bring your family into it is it divides your family. It divides everybody up. It's bad. It's bad. It's bad.
They are going to be very biased and emotionally driven. The advice you're going to get is not going to be good. And the reality is they may not even be picking your side. They may be picking your spouse's side.
Yeah, don't always jump to conclusions.
So you really don't want to go get your family involved.
You may be having a rift between you and a family member, and you think they're going to be there for the other. So let's just stay clear of the family. Family's not a very good place to go. If you're really looking for advice or help, that's where there's professionals out there, and there's coaches out there, and there's places where you can bring those things and get much better insight.
Now, the biggest thing I'm going to tell y'all is...
It took a while to get into the situation. It might take a little while to work it out.
Yeah, patience, baby.
Yep.
Don't pray for patience. Just take your time, day by day, spend some time talking, love on each other. Even when you don't want to, you love on each other. I think that's probably one of the biggest problems we hear with talking to couples. They decide, they do a lot of blame shifting.
Right.
And then since it's the other person's fault, there's no intimacy. There's no, and let me tell you, if you've watched us at all, one of the biggest things in a relationship, you need friendship and you need good sex. That will get you through a whole lot of stuff. I'm just saying. I know, putting it out there. And if you don't know what that is, then I've got some books for you.
One of these days, you're going to have us do a topic on it.
We've already done a topic once, but we're going to do it again because I think it's very important. And so important that we have decided to start adding a hot and heavy marriage tip every time we go live.
Yep.
So, what is our hot and heavy marriage tip, Mr. Wyatt?
You need to learn to spice it up, baby.
I mean to tell you, spice it up. What are you talking about?
I mean, literally, spice it up. They think we're just talking about getting saucy with each other.
Yeah.
I'm talking about getting some hot sauces out.
Oh.
See what I did there?
I see. I see. Okay,
It
so
literally does. Tell them what that means. Studies have found.
You tell us.
Studies have
That's the
found
whole
that
point.
spicy food, actual spicy food,
like hot sauce and chili
right,
peppers,
right, will actually increase your endorphins.
That's your feel-good hormone.
Yep. And actually increase the desire that you might have for one another
Okay,
that you associate
let's
with it.
make this clear. It increases his desire.
Most of the time it's male
It's
oriented in the study.
Increase his
That's true.
desire for you. And I'm just saying, ladies, I mean, early on in newlyweds, you probably don't have that. But when you got kids and everybody's tired,
when you get old and
you
tired.
you gotta have that.
Throw some jalapenos in your mix.
hot and heavy marriage tip, people. Let's start cooking with some hot sauce
Start
and chili.
hooking with some spices.
Some spicy, baby.
Well, yeah.
Hot sauce and chili peppers.
As long as you're married and you're hooking up,
gives
that's
you
all
the
right.
well. That's what you're supposed
That's
to do. So if you do want to spice some things up tonight, order some hot wings or some other spicy food.
Start off gentle. Don't start off
Yeah.
with the ghost peppers.
Oh my goodness, no. 'Cause
Although
that
I've had a few, and it's like, okay, that's a little bit too much.
and yeah, but that probably kept you in the bathroom, not the bedroom.
Right.
Just saying,
You got to be careful. There is
Gotta
a
be
threshold.
careful.
There is a threshold to be had.
right? Okay, so that was the hot and heavy marriage
There you
tip
go.
tonight.
No, we're being serious about that. It's not
Oh,
just
I
a
am
joke.
dead serious.
Play a little fun with some of the
Have
food
some
and
fun,
relationship.
yep.
The whole point is
Have
some
fun.
with each
Rebuild.
other,
We
not
talked
other people.
the entire evening. We talked about a little bit of maintenance, but we do that all the time. A little bit of repair, we do that all the time. So tonight we talked about
Right.
rebuilding your relationship, and then we started adding in the hot and heavy marriage tip, which we will start doing each week.
Yep.
And so y'all have a great evening, and we will see y'all next time.
Alrighty. That means I
You
got to
good?
get up.
You do, because it's on that side.
All right. Well, I'll see you later while I get up.
Bye. I wish they had a little thing with Facebook Live that you could push it.
Can't see it.
Like if we're videoing, we would be able to push a button.